everyone, welcome to the next video for Fantastic Friday. I know it's been a while. Anyway, my lit heads, welcome. So I have something really cool and important to tell you guys. So it was confirmed, I think either yesterday or the day before, not even a few days ago, that Crash Bandicoot is officially coming back for modern day consoles, specifically the PS4, with Crash Bandicoot, Cortex Strikes Back, and Crash Bandicoot Warped, also known as Crash Bandicoot 3. All now coming to the PS4, and I think that is really awesome. They're being completely remade from scratch. The model is new, everything is new, but it is remade to, resemble the level design of the classic game, so I think that is awesome. And the reason why is because I don't know. I mean, this is me speculating, nothing's been confirmed, I do not know at all. But what I'm thinking is, hopefully, if the Crash games are running off of the Unreal Engine 4, then that means it could possibly then be ported over to the Nintendo Switch, because I remember hearing not too long ago that the Nintendo Switch does function with the Unreal 4 engine, like it is capable to run games with that engine. That's why even this one indie game called Seasons of Heaven is going to be put on the Nintendo Switch because it runs on the Unreal 4 engine. So, this also opens the possibility to us possibly even getting some Kingdom Hearts games on the Nintendo Switch, because Nintendo has always supported the Kingdom Hearts series. When Nintendo went multiplat, or Square Enix went multiplat with the Kingdom Hearts series, it was always Nintendo that got all the other side story games. I call them side stories because, they are still part of the main story, but they're not, an actual, numbered game, which are, the main, meaty, super important stories. Anyway, my point is, I feel like, hopefully, this means we will get Crash Bandicoot, and we will get Kingdom Hearts, and other games that run on the Unreal 4 engine, which, if I remember right, I think also the Final Fantasy VII Remake for PS4, I think that one also runs on the Unreal 4 engine, right? So if that's true, that means we could get really awesome games that would typically be only for Sony fans on the Nintendo Switch, and that could then potentially open up a whole new audience to getting the Nintendo Switch, because, I've always been more of a Nintendo fan, but I am not a fangirl, fanboy, whatever the hell you want to call it. I'm not like that. Why? Because if there's a game I want, and it's on another system, I don't care about who made it, I'm gonna get the other system. That's why I got my Xbox 360, because I wanted to play Rock Band, and I wanted to play, the Naruto and Ninja Storm series games, and I wanted to play the third and final part of the Legend of Spyro trilogy, which also came out with the Xbox 360, because it was the only HD game for the trilogy. So, if there's a game that I like, but it's on another console, I don't care about the company that made it, I want the freaking console. In fact, Crash for the PS4 was kind of tempting me. I was thinking, should I trade in some of my consoles to try to get a PS4? It was kind of tempting me to do that, because I love Crash. As a 90s kid, Crash Bandicoot was one of the first few games I ever played. I honestly can't tell you which one was my first, because I don't know. I've been playing video games practically my entire life, so I don't even know what was my first ever video game. I don't know, it's been too long. But I know Crash and Spyro were one of my first few games that I ever played. So to see what I grew up with Crash now being done in, beautiful PS4 HD graphics, it looks really cool. This is more of a nitpick, but my only real gripe with it per se is Crash Bandicoot is in a very cartoony art style, a very simplistic art style, so then trying to combine a simplistic art style with super detailed texture can seem a little weird. I personally like it. I think it's cool when you try to combine two styles together. You could combine this sort of realistic texture with a more simplistic cartoon art style. I think it can look cool. And that kind of reminds me of my personal style. If I were to be drawing on paper and I were to be drawing an anime character, typically what I do is then I would make their hair super detailed along the lines of Death Note, but then I make the hair more wispy. I actually sketch the hair as opposed to making it really solid lines. to give it that more fluffy texture like a real hair does, real hair has. So that's what this is like. This is kind of like my style being applied to a video game character, which is why I think it's even more cool. Because if I were to draw a Crash Bandicoot and try to give him that realistic look, this is basically it. Like that's what I would try doing, giving him a fur texture, but then keep the design still really stylistic and really, cartoon-like. So I think that's cool that they tried to sort of combine both. And Crash does have fur, so I feel like it made sense to give him fur. My only other gripe is, this is just more of a nitpick because, again, I've played Crash for so many years, is if you look at the box art for the really old PS1 Crash games, and you look at the CD, because the CD also has, the box art of the game on it, Crash Bandicoot has a belt buckle. He has a black belt and a gold square-colored buckle on his pants. So I was thinking, for the HD remake of all the 3 original games, that they would then do that and give him the, belt buckle, but they didn't. I don't know why. Instead, they gave him this weird white rope ribbon around his pants. It makes him look more like he's wearing sweatpants when I never thought that was the case. I thought Crash was always wearing, jeans and that he had a belt buckle. So, in that regard, technically the Crash Bandicoot game, Crash Wrath of Cortex, is actually more accurate in terms of representing the classic Crash Bandicoot art style, but with a, more modern console. I mean, the GameCube is dated, obviously, but, in terms of trying to make a more modern model, and then, keep the classic aspects of the character, that one was technically more accurate because it had the belt buckle, which is used on the freaking box art of the Crash games, but the PS4 one doesn't. Like, you see what I mean? That's a little weird. Like, why didn't they give him the belt buckle, which is on the freaking box art of all the old PS1 Crash games? It's weird. Anyway, I also heard from somewhere, I don't think it's confirmed. Actually, no, I didn't even hear it. I read it in the freaking YouTube comments, but people are speculating that hopefully the original voice of Cortex is going to come back for the original Crash games. And when I say the original voice, you probably all think of, Cortex's voice during the PS2 era. And also, that was the voice of Cortex during, sadly, the last time we ever saw Crash before all this. Crash Mind Over Mutant and Crash of the Titans. Yeah, that's not the original voice. The original voice of Cortex was way more menacing and way more, villain sounding. He sounded actually kind of scary, for like a little kid, I guess. So that voice is more fitting for Cortex, in my opinion. But over time, the character became more of a joke, and that's why Lex Lang kind of fits the more joke, silly Cortex. Kind of like Eggman. Eggman became a joke as well, anyway. The point is, I've seen people speculating that maybe the original voice of Cortex is going to come back, and I hope he does, because it's just not going to be complete, a true remake without the original voice actors coming back. I heard the original voice actor for Crash did come back for the game, so hopefully, the other ones will as well. I especially like the voice of Aku Aku during the PS1 era of Crash, so I really, really hope he comes back too. And I honestly hope this gets ported over to the Switch. Will it? I don't know. But considering how apparently the Nintendo Switch is capable of running the PS4 utilized, engine, the Unreal 4 engine. I'm sure it's used for other, consoles too, but so far, from what I've been hearing, this engine is being usually used for the PS4. Kingdom Hearts, Crash Bandicoot, that one indie game you watch, that's going to go on the PS4, probably, I don't know. Point is, this Unreal Engine 4 seems to be primarily used for the PS4 right now. Maybe in the future it'll be used for, other consoles too. But for now, it seems mainly focused on the PS4. So what I'm saying is, hopefully we get some PS4 games ported over to the Nintendo Switch. And now with that out of the way, I want to state my concerns for the Switch. As much as I, like that the Nintendo Switch is getting a lot more attention, I like that Nintendo is really trying to get people to understand what this thing is, by even going onto the freaking, what's it called, the night show, the late show, I don't care, it's the show with Jimmy Fallon, yeah, that guy, whatever, that's a night show, I don't know, they were there, and they showed off the Switch in front of everybody. So this is like the first time, someone really got to experience Nintendo Switch, other than those freaking actors for the commercial, the first ever, like, unveiling trailer of Nintendo Switch. So I like it. I like that they are doing that, but one of my concerns is this going to really work? Are people really going to go out and buy it? Is this going to keep the third-party support? Because look at the Wii U. The Wii U started out very promising. I mean, it had nowhere near the third-party support that the Nintendo Switch looks like it was going to get. It had like almost an entire wall of logos popping up showing you how many people want to support the Switch versus, the very small amount of third-party support for the Wii U. But still, it is starting out with third-party support, but will it stay? I don't know. And that's one of my concerns. And, well, it's freaking tiny, man. Look at the controller, the Joy-Cons. It's a cool concept, and I think it's awesome that you're practically getting two controllers programmed into the tablet. But they're so freaking small, I worry that it's just going to be really easy to lose the Joy-Cons, and that's just going to be very problematic for, trying to switch the freaking tablet controller into the Switch. If you lose the Joy-Cons, what do? You're just gonna have to go buy the Joy-Cons again. Can you buy them separately? I don't know. I feel like they're just too easy to lose, and that's why I'm glad we have the under controller options. But still, the main focus, the main way you're supposed to play is with the Joy-Cons. And moving on from that, the freaking tablet controller. The tablet controller, from what I saw on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, I think that's what the show was called. The tablet itself looks very, very small. Again, when something is small, it's a lot easier to lose, So, hell, I just speak from experience, because I've almost lost my cell phone multiple times. I always manage to find it, but the fact that it can go missing or go unseen very easily shows you what I'm talking about. When something is small, it is easier to misplace, and it is easier to then suddenly have it disappear. You don't know where it went, you don't know where it is, so you might actually lose it, and that's one of my concerns about the Nintendo Switch, that if you lose what's essentially the key component of the freaking console, when you think about it, the tablet is more the console than the actual docking system. That's just to put the tablet in there if you don't want to play the game that way, and you just have the game on your TV like a home console. When you think about it, the tablet is more or less the real console, so if you lose that, you've pretty much lost the console. The docking system is now useless. So, it's tiny, it's easy to lose, it has a lot of parts, like the freaking Joy-Con, that's going to be easy to lose. How durable is it? That's another issue I'm worrying about. See, Nintendo consoles in the past were known for being extremely durable to a point. I found this really old video that was about the PS2, Xbox, the original Xbox, I was about to say 360, the original Xbox, and the GameCube. They were all being tied with a rope from one end to a truck on the other end, and then the person tosses them off the truck and lets them get smashed on the road over and over and over to test and see if they can still work even after being smashed on the road. And guess which one works? The GameCube. It was smashed like a pancake, yet when he presses the power button, it still worked. So, Nintendo consoles in the past were very durable, but not now. I remember one time I accidentally broke my Wii U. Well, actually, it wasn't even me, really. It was so long ago. I think it was either my silly poor little puppy, or my cat. I think it was my puppy who went and started messing with my wires, and that pulled my Wii U off of the shelf it's on, which is actually a pretty high shelf, and it smashed onto the floor, and it broke, and I had to buy a new Wii U, or not a Wii U, damn it, I had to buy a new Wii, because my original one broke. If I remember right, I think that's what happened, yeah. And then I got a new Wii, and that one is a piece of junk too now that the poor Wii is like barely even working anymore. I can't even use the power button to turn it on. The power button doesn't work anymore, and I have to turn it on with the remote. And if I don't have a remote, then I'm screwed. I can't turn it on unless I press the eject button to take out a game. That's really it. So I feel like the consoles have gotten less and less durable over the years, and I'm worried that the Switch is going to be really easy to break. And you know, I'm worried, you know, if it's an expensive console, which everyone likely will, because you know you gotta charge, you know, some money for all the freaking money you poured into developing the technology. You gotta, you know, make it a bit expensive. But Nintendo has always been the more cheap, the more easier to afford out of the three companies, at least in my opinion. So that won't be too much of an issue, but I still see it as an issue, you know, like the price tag for the Switch. If you accidentally break it, are you going to be able to buy one as easily again? Because the Wii was really cheap. It was like, I think, $250. It was just really hard to afford. Really hard to get. But I still, you know, was able to manage to get a second Wii. If I remember right. It's been so long, I don't even know anymore. But I remember my Wii breaking. There was a game in there, so I essentially lost the game too, and I had to go rebuy the Wii and the game again. Yeah, I think that's what happened. I think. I'm pretty sure, yeah, I accidentally had my Wii broken, and then got another one, but yeah. Anyway, point is, the Switch has the potential to be awesome, but it has the potential to fail too, depending on, you know, if they don't market this right. If they don't stay true to really trying to get third-party support, and, you know, how durable is this thing going to be? Because if the Switch breaks easily, that's going to be a turn-off, in my opinion, you know? You just bought the console, and then you accidentally drop the tablet, and now it's broken, you know what I mean? Like, that would suck. Or you, I don't know, drop the Joy-Con, and you lose it, you know, you gotta go buy another Joy-Con. So, like, I just see that there could be so many issues with the Switch if we're not careful, you know? And are they gonna come out with a new version? Because now, with, you know, technology advancing so quickly, now everything is getting so freaking outdated so quickly too. Like, the original PS4 and the original Xbox One are technically now outdated, and we're gonna have, what's it called, the PS4 Neo and the Xbox Scorpio coming out, like, I think next year. So, even, you know, with the other companies having new consoles coming out, that's not enough. Because now we gotta have another set of new consoles on top of that, because the original new consoles are outdated. You see what I mean? That's ridiculous. So, is that gonna happen to the Switch? Is the Switch gonna get outdated and it's gotta update again, and we get a Switch 2.0 or Switch Neo, you know what I mean? Like, that would be ridiculous too. So that's another concern I have. Is it gonna get outdated really fast, and then we have to buy a new freaking Switch to keep up with the everlastingly ridiculous climb that is technology constantly getting more and more and more and more advanced? You know? That's really one of my major gripes with consoles in general, really. I feel like consoles just aren't lasting as long as they used to. Like, when I had a GameCube and PS2, you know, back then, those consoles lasted a long time. The generation of the PS2 especially lasted, I think, like, actually not until that long ago. I think, like, 2014 was when they officially stopped producing the PS2 console games and the PS2 in general. So it lasted for a long time. But most consoles don't last that long. So, now it's ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to have to go buy another Switch because the original Switch is outdated. You know what I mean? And that's another concern I want to bring up. I've heard supposedly people are saying that the Nintendo Switch is about as powerful as the base standard original PS4. And if that's true, that's cool. But that would mean that, again, Nintendo is being left behind, and that's technically outdated because of the freaking PS4 Neo and the Xbox Switch, or damn it, Xbox Scorpio. I can't talk today. I just woke up. That's why I'm kind of tired. But yeah, you get the point. So, hopefully the Switch is not really underpowered. I heard from an extremely reliable source, ReviewTech USA. He's this guy who knows crap loads about computers and technology and developing technology and developing the crap that's in consoles, like gigahertz and terabytes and RAM and all this stuff that's actually used for computers but also used for consoles. Yeah, so he knows about that stuff. And he said in a video, which I'll even link in the description, that he heard that the creators of Dark Souls 3 are trying to put Dark Souls 3 on the Switch, and they were able to make it run at a satisfying way. Like basically, it's ready to be ported over to the Switch. And the reason why that's a big deal is because Dark Souls 3 is a current gen, modern video game. So for a Nintendo console to be able to pull off running a modern video game, that's a big deal. So if that's true, according to him, that would mean that the Nintendo Switch is just about as powerful as the original PS4, which is awesome. But again, that makes it technically a little underpowered, because then we're going to have the freaking PS4 Neo and the Xbox Scorpio. So, will that matter? Will it be super underpowered by the time those consoles come out? I don't know. But anyway, my point is, hopefully this is good. Hopefully Nintendo does a good job and we don't have another freaking bomb like the Wii U, Despite how people didn't like me trash talking the Wii U, and actually that was like one of my most disliked videos, it's the truth. The Wii U is a financial failure. It did not sell well. It had good games. I like the Wii U. I'm not denying that it is a good, form of entertainment. But in terms of making Nintendo money, it failed. Some people say it even sold less than the Sega Dreamcast. So that's really bad. Anyway, this is Lit and Fire going away. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I will see you all next time. Bye.